I am Ratan Kumar Chandra. You are listening from my literary works by named My Divine Turbine, Miscellaneous Poems, which is a collection of 770 poems. So I tell you the foreword of these poems. In the brilliant pages of this book, I give the oblation of poems. In the devotional love of my book, My Divine Turbine, Miscellaneous Poems, which enlightens the ways of our lives as the rays of the sun, by the message of my soul for the passage of our goals, where the essence of my poems simplify the senses of lives. The patience of my poems glorify the greatness of lives by the holiness of the sky, so that our lives can be delighted by the divine right of our lives on earth. I say about myself, from the dawn of the birth of my life, which was with a dawn in Kanpur, UP, to up to now, I bear the witness of my memories, whether the memory of merriment or the memory of amazement. I pay respect to my memoir to honor the participator in my life. Now poem number first. My dear rain, you are the chain of our lives, to tie us with your paradise. You relieve us from the pain of our lives. You release us from the shame of our lives and nourish us in the game of our lives, so that we can create our own fame at your name. When your art of presence welcomes us as a fresh wave of romance for us by the hour of your quenching power, which quenches the thirst of thirsty nature and launches the feast of peace and pleasure for the prosperity of its treasure, so that we can measure the depth of the access of divine success on earth. Poem number 2. I am the air, the omnipresent air. From the beginning of the world, I am omnipotent. I serve you restlessly. I love you generously. I give you a lively life, so that you can be alive happily. Your liveliness is my bliss. Your liveliness is my bliss. I am omniscient. My piety is your beauty. My purity is your duty. But sorry, you are polluting me, as my freshness presents you. So don't pollute me to pollute you. Number 3. My prayer is the essence of my sense in life. My penance is the patience of my confidence in life, so that I can be alive with the liveliness of love and service, where the oblation of my devotion to humanity and the oblation of my dedication to divinity are the sources of my ambition in life, which is the root of my divine combination in life as the right of a devotee for the trust and bliss of the Almighty in life. Poem number 4. At nightfall, in nightingale is among all, at the call of the dolls, flowers, garden in moonlight. All are in so happy a mood, in asking reason, in this season, for the first time, to the whole time, he, that is gardener, he is absent to his achievements. She tells happily to sing merrily, first time with her, first time in season. Being overwhelmed with joy, they sing the song all night long with beloved nightingale. At the dawn, gardener comes in, being pregnant with ideas, and pluck all flowers. With the parting of flowers, their love is gone. She watches all, mourns with grief, inspires with deep, and flies away. Poem number 5. Let the light soothe the hungriness of darkness. Let the spirit quench the thirst of idleness. Let us dedicate our duties to the creations of beauties for the recreations of our lives in love as we serve lives. So we hope to get the service of God in our lives. We love lives, so we hope to get the trace of God in our lives. We honor lives, so we hope to get the bliss of God in our lives for our own paradise in the sky. Poem number 6. Welcome, welcome to you, as you are the goal of my soul for my salvation in life. You come to me from the high of the sky as the duty of your beauty, at the call of your devotee for the security of my life, in hope of my maturity in life, for the priority of making me divine so that I can be signed by you in the reign of your sky, the Almighty. Number 7. When the rotating sun and earth overwhelm the floating clouds for the pride of our lives by the shroud of rain, which are the forces of our birth, for the sources of being free from the courses of the rivers of our lives on earth. You are welcome to us. You make us divine. You do fruitful our fate so that we can get your taste for your divine bliss in our lives on earth. Number 8. As you maintain our lives, we maintain your paradise. O soil, we are loyal to you as your soldiers. Our generosity glorifies you by our great heroism, which maintains the humanism on earth by our safe conduct when we overspread your fame by our faithful name, which creates the gay and festive atmosphere by clearing the mist of weary air. We establish your reign of peace there. Number 9. O beauty of beauties, who are you? How lovely you bloom with your fresh youth. How greatly you approach with your smiling feature as the call of fortune in life. I am a dream of earth. I give the birth of ideas for our divine right in lives. The dream of whom will live in our lives on earth by our proper use for the dues of our lives on earth. I am a weary passerby, tired of walking, seeking for the sky of your love. Please come in my close embrace. Let me look myself in your pupil of eyes to dissolve all my weariness in the mourness of your sight as a prize of love by surprise. Oh, weary passerby, my love, your prize is my win. Win over my penance. My penance is for love. Let me love you for me as the love of a sunflower to the sun who looks him winglessly without feeling of delicacy. Oh, prettiest, as your penance welcomes me, so let me have a chance to welcome you so that the senses of our love can create the essence of fortune in our lives with you. Number 10. Why we be cruel to others instead of being kind to them when the mercy of gracious clouds create a gracious atmosphere for our love and peace over there to overwhelm the aerodrome of humanity by the sense of divine security for the essence of natural maturity in our lives so that we can give the birth of mindless and boundless confidence for the divine bliss in our lives on earth. Why the man hates, number 11, why the man hates the man when the death awaits for man, making sinful the land of man, man hates the man. As the dawn and dusk are the nature of our atmosphere on earth, the births and deaths are the nature of our lives on earth. So we are the natural product of earth, and as we can't stop the dawn, we can't stop our births, as well as we can't stop the dusk, we can't stop our deaths. So have elation from the motion of earth, as this is an emotion for the divine promotion of our births, so that we can be free from the reverse of our lives on earth. Number 12, 0, oh 0, you have made us zero. We were at 0. Now we are hero. From 0 to hero, we show honor to you as you give honor to us. At every step in lives, we feel your presence in lives, which create a sense of learning in lives for the source of earning in lives, by which we lead the lives, we feed the lives, informed of lives for the force of fortune in lives, in the course of creation for our divine promotion in lives, so that we can sign ourselves being divine in the sky of God. Number 13, the crown of the sky is the crown of our lives on earth, whose honor is the honor of our lives, so that we can be the gainer of the honor of the sky, because we have to sacrifice our lives on earth. So we have to place ourselves in the sky against the price of the sacrifice of our lives on earth. As we are created by love, we are the creator of love. So we have to carry the courses of our lives by the sources of love, so that the forces of our divine love can place ourselves in the palace of the sky. Number 14, you are the dream of our divine paradise in lives. Your piety and power are the sower of care in our lives, which maintain the fame and game as for the aim of our lives in love with you. So let us make vow that we will not pollute the flow of our lives pollute the flow of our love in lives, and we will preserve ourselves as the glow of dawn and the glaze of morn to adorn our lives by the dawn of immortal love for our own paradise in the sky by you, the Almighty. Number 15. The air of joy is blowing by bearing the message of consolation as an air of consideration to show your affinity against my waiting ages for you. My longing of love bears you by my loving embrace, which stresses your love in my life, when the grace of your glamour creates a flavor of fortune by the savor of being forever with me. Number 16. How far you are from our glorious garden, silently passes through us, stealthily collects among us, to do your duty as a honeybee for collecting the water from our garden, to make a water comb for our garden. Far, far, very far from us, O cloud, you have made a water comb for us. "17. The power of my love blooms in your serene sensation, to relish you, your liveliness, and to cherish you, your loveliness. When the fondness of separation develops a dreamy honor in lives, in which the swelling of your emotion enlightens the motion of lives, to feel your delightfulness into love, from where your concealed pain peeps into my delighted eyes, when you sweep up the tear of cheer from our lives." Number 18. I was my own when I was unknown about your divine secrecy in my life. But when you have made me your own, to be known divinely in the sky, from that time on I am thine, as you have made me divine, to sign as the divine owner in your sky, the Almighty, for the longing of my love to you. You have created an example of divine liberty in my life by giving me the divine right of your paradise for an opportunity of the right of divine promotion to your devotees on earth. Number 19. When I draw the dream of the sky and look the agitated moon moving for meeting with her beloved by creating a scene of romance over the sky, and at last when the dawn overwhelms her to immerse her pain in the boundless flame by embracing the longing of a lover who covers the ways and fond of the glorious rays for the gaze of the nature of fulfillment in the sky as well as the fulfillment of the nature of our lives on earth. 20. Light wind is blowing among us as the flowing of kindness in our lives, in fond of the fondness of our lives for the bind of our mind by the divine kindness among which the fragrance of flowers are bewildering in pleasure for the prosperity of its treasure with the hidden owner of its honor, who offers love to the lovers when we cover the treasure of heart by the pleasure of light. "21. This is not only the duty of our lives. This should not be only the view of our beauty in lives, to relish the dew of youth in the queue of the days of our lives. This is the rays of surprise on the ways of our lives for the divine discoveries in alive, when the gaze of the emotion of our love with God, in fond of the divine promotion in lives, provide our own paradise in the sky." Number 22. I pay my divine congratulation to you. The pearls of your deeds are in your empty seat. Your seat is decorated by the flowers of inspiring songs, which are scented by the presentation of your ideas for the surprise of the prize of liberty, which delights the core of our moral security in lives. You are as a gardener of a glorious garden, whether you plow and ply for the high of your sky, which creates everlasting flowers, neither the fragrant flowers a smile of fortune in your evergreen glorious garden, which maintains our fame and name in the game of our lives. We pay our homage to you for your courage at the coverage of your birthday anniversary among us. Number 23. When the scenes of pitiful sighs knock the doors of our lives, the pleasureless greenery and the charmless scenery create a heartless gallery of our own. When we pray for the pathos of peace to be ease in lives, which relieve us from the tense of our lives, to reveal the sense of our lives by our presence of mind, which help us to find God for the bliss of kindness in our lives on earth. Number 24. While in dim dawn, with the rising sun crossing the dim as it begins the sin of a new era, in this auspicious moment, who are you? Come to me, O beauty, express your heart desire to me. I am a dream of dawn, the dawn of marvelous morn, the morn of great gain, which relieves from all pains as the aim of my life. Please delight my life like a bright morn. I am great for you. Hear the dawn chorus as it welcomes us. Look the blooming flowers, which cheers with their fragrance to share our joy by their care of beauty in this fair of duty. Let us give the oblation of our devotion and dedication of lives in love. O my owner of honor, Let me be the gainer of your love. You delight my life by the right of your love in my life, as the brightness of the sun, which makes us bright for the right of our lives on earth, so that the pivotal dream of our lives can be derived from the dream of the love of our paradise in lives. Really, darling, this is a matter of pride for us, as the pride of dawn enlightens our lives by the light of morn, which adorns our lives by the divine light. So let us pray to the Almighty for the honor of divine liberty in our lives on earth, whose piety perfumes our lives for the birth of our divine paradise in the sky. "25. Our names bear the fame of our lives. Our faith bears the aims of our lives. Where our games bear the glories of our lives in the holiness of divinity. For our divine attributes by the tributes of our noble spirited virtues, the facility of hospitality for a devotee of humanity, which creates cordiality for the prize of immortality as the greatest surprise of our mentality in lives." 26. When the favor of faith fortifies us, when the flavor of fame glorifies us, which qualifies the faith of faith, the divine faith in lives, to adore the fate of fame for the gain of our aim of our divine promotion by our salvation in lives, so that we can be rescued divinely from the queue of our lives earthly. 27. Stop to wield the storm. Don't spread your feathers, so restless weather. You relieve us from the wild rain of your whim. Let it bloom a smiling sky free from the fearful sight, to develop the pollen of peace in our heart, which is guarded by the petals of prosperity for enjoying the perfect gloom of beauty in our lives, as the grace of glow by the growing dawn for the contentment of morn, which adorns our lives by the divine prizes. You are my 28. You are my existence, my soul. You are my stability, my soil. A lively silent chapter to encourage the growth and spirit for guiding the life by spiritual power. You are immortal, my soul. You are ideal, my soil. Your hymn of humanity is the great charm of civility to civilize the dream of brain, which relieves from the unknown pain of no name, for signing the life by the philosophy of soul on the soil, being loyal to the goal of God in the sky. 29. O soil, we are loyal to you. Our green fingers civilize you to produce the green, for making us green, which relieves you from your dirty sin when we play with you, plow you, and ply you to teach you the lesson of productivity, which signs you by your plenty of beauty and beautifies your youthfulness by our duties, so that we can greet our lives by the greatness of your right. Number 30. Light, O gracious light, we are blazed by your glorious brightness, which is the source of our foresightedness in lives. When you create an alluring glow which flows as the aroma of a more like a remedy of a decor to cure the deep-rooted tension, for dressing the wounds of our relation by your splendid decoration, which keeps us in motion to remain cheerful, merciful, and merciful in lives by the device of the wiseness of our souls for our goals in the sky. "31. The blessings of the golden sun adorns the views of earth with the news of discovery for the recovery of the paradise of our own lives, while melting the order of the day, which creates an atmosphere of gaze by the rays of light, when it delights the ways of our lives from earth to the paradise in the sky." Number 32. When my love melts our hearts, melt your hearts to do your part by an art of exchanging our fortunate glance, which creates a thrill of zeal to heal the heaven of love, for embracing a new faith in hope of the blessings of a racing dawn at the farewell of parting sun, which promises a sequence of quenching morns. Number 33. You are the daughter of heaven, O great Ganga. You come from heaven with all your grace and glory to illuminate the heart of our motherland by your holy sensation. You are flowing on our motherland to bless us when your auspicious touch relieves us from all worries to make cool the call of lives into your melodious flow of waves. You are not an ordinary river. Your religiousness is your greatness. You are the glory of our proudness. You have left a glorious story of deliverance behind you by your holy fame, which relieves us from the same of our lives on earth. O great Ganga, you are our guest on earth. Your pious cool touch of holiness creates a sense of closeness to cheer up the wave of desires into your lap of admiration. So let us make bold not to pollute your flows and let there remain your fame which is in your life's game. "34. As the sky is the crown of earth, the stars are the crowns of people. For those who are the pride of earth, they are the pride of the sky also, as the stars of the sky on high, very high. When the divinity is the glory of power, the humanity is the glory of power, to glorify the sky by the glorious deeds for the oblation of our devotion in lives, so that the creation of our lives can be overwhelmed by the progression of our lives in front of our divine paradise in the sky." 35. O prider of our country, you are proud of us. We feel pride for you. As you are the hope of human beings, you create courage for humanity by your alluring personality to enlighten our lives by the jewel of ideals, from which the rays of fame shines your name and the name of our country, as your locket is on the necklace of our country, to adorn the world by your divine lesson of knocking for seeking the pleasure of peace, so that we can maintain our prosperity at ease. 36. The dawn of your light of love enlightens the core of my life. When you come to me with your heart of love to be the part of my life by your art of love, which attracts my attention to you by creating a thrill of fancy as the decency to secure our love, when you show your compassion to me for the completion of our love in lives. 37. O nature, you are the architecture of our lives on earth. You promote us to your paradise in the sky, so we are in hope of your mercy when you will disclose your secrecy to us, as the night of dusk creates a mask for the talks of our lives at dawn. The light of dawn creates a right of our own to adorn our lives by surprise, when our sacrifices in favor of you are the sources of our prizes for the right of our paradise in the sky. "38. Your lap is the source of our knowledge in the course of creation for the lesson and recreation in our lives, by the succession of the days on the ways of our lives for our paradise in the sky. When spring showers create a natural charm to celebrate a festival of vernal celebrity for the maturity of our lives, when summer power creates a sense of excitement by the achievements of our lives for holding custom to consecrate power which creates creates a season's war in weather, for disclosing the secret of nature in atmosphere with which the autumn represents freshness in nature, to color its treasure with blooming pleasure in which the sensation of cold develops the charms of living and the arms of loving, for serving our lives by the surprise of your presentation in our lives on earth. 39. O nature, you are the treasure of our multi-pleasure in lives. You have colored our birth, earth, and the sky by the plenty of your beauty, which delights our lives as the duty of a deity, for the lesson of divine promotion to your devotee by the sources of creations, when the color of birth and death are derived from the color of dawn and dusk, to be free from the mask of our lives for our own paradise in the sky. Number 40. O universe, the mysterious lamp of your secrecy is kept secretly in your heart to enlighten the knowledge of our lives by the light of your lamp at the core of lives, which is lighted by the lives for the lives, and to honor the lives with the invention of signs of motion for decoration by automation, the accession of science as a civilizer of the succession of civilization for our realization, so that beyond the boundary of life and death we can keep faith on us. 41. When I was a child in the chilliest garden of my childhood, the blessings of power soared over my life. Neither was the weariness for health and wealth, nor was the fight for right. All were the scenes to delight, when there was no thrill for perceiving, except the romance for feeling. When the heart was cheerful, the smile was beautiful, and the nature was joyful, as the atmosphere was helpful and the society was merciful, to look us blooming perfectly. Today, at the coronation ceremony of health in child, on the Children's Health Day, that is 7th April, we should remember the image of our childhood, so that we can take care for today's child, and the childhood which we have lost forever, we can get that in today's child by looking them bright to delight our ways wisely. 42. Life gives us birth to glorify the earth of our lives by the love of our own to be known among us, which creates an atmosphere of affection for the perfection of our lives, to tie our lives by the chain of creations as the chain of progression, which are signed by the aim of our lives. So our aim is our own asset, to set our divine fame of being free from the reverse of our lives on earth. 43. Let us save the virtues of our lives on earth, so that we can save the virtues of our atmosphere on earth, which ultimately saves the virtues of our sky on earth, as our sky is the index of our earth in lives, which are signed by the virtues of our lives. But those who are ashamed by the nature of lives, by being drug addict, to damage the core of lives, which ultimately affects the soul of lives by weakening the door of lives, when the alcoholism removes the naturalism from the nature of lives, and the smoking sickens our lives by seeking the health and mind, which compels us to be as a burden of us, when the health hates us and mind misleads us, to make the body as a burial ground by digging through the addicting of the drug, alcoholism and smoking, for making the life as a living grave of body in a life. 44. May I homage to you, O martyrs and leaders of May Day, on this May Day centenary, when you dedicated your lives for initiating the intense interest in lives, that the lives were not only for work to eat, there needed the honor for manner to maintain the need for civilizing the lives by making morally bound to follow the right of labor, the right of recreation, and the right of rest as the guest of this mortal life. When the rhyme of lives relate the melody of songs with the mode of lives as a modifier of the mood of lives. 45. When the dream of your love develops a holy sensation as the aviation of the helpless cloud creates a casual romance in the lap of lives, the fondness of heart and the findings of life, and live in the ungettable and unforgettable memories which are immersed in my heart as the water in the cloud. With that cloudy heart, I am proud of you for the shroud of your love in my life. 46. Let there be the honor of your love in my life, for the manner of being the gainer of my love in your life. I have promised cheers to my heart, so I avoid to weep in tears, as I don't want to suffer in love more, so you be the remedy of my pain to cure. 47. At the end of night, with the dawn of lives, when the light spreads its rays to capture over the waves of our lives, by creating a thrilling sensation with the waves of motion, for giving the oblation of power in honor of the hour of light, to delight the core of lives, when the wings of bird swings in the lap of air, in search of the sources of power for the prayer of mercy, for the courtesy of your secrecy, while immersing in nature with the immersion of light. 48. The misery of our miserable days melt the glamour of our waves, which create sympathy for being worthy to cover the unworthy situations, like the sun rays on the snow-covered hills, which melt snow and develop glow, forgetting the lessons and experiences in lives, which are the causes of the divine perception in lives, when moral vernal smile shines the savor of lives to relieve us from the weariness of lives, when vanity vanishes and fresh waves greet the lives to delight us by its own way, which makes us bright for the divine right of our lives on earth. 49. Let us cherish the relation of friendship in our lives, so that we can relish the motion of our emotion in lives, as this is to be lost in hope of love for the happiness of lives, which glorify our lives by the chain of love. When the fame of love fulfills our aim in the game of lives by the favor of the essence of patience, which creates a sense of fortune in our lives in love. 50. When my romance was with you, when there was faith in my life, when there was fame in my life, we played the game of our aim in lives. Now, whoever and wherever you are, you can look me in the eternal pleasure of divine treasure in the sky of the world, as the divine honor of the sky on earth, so that you can measure the birth of a life so of divine glow of the Almighty in love with me on earth and in the sky. 51. Friends are the sources of our lives. Friends are the forces of our lives in the courses of liveliness and loveliness of our lives. So let us be great as the fate of divine promotion for the progression of our lives, which fly as the clouds of the sky to immerse in the color of lives, which is sponsored by the blood of life, whose color is same in all lives. So let there be love for all lives, so that we can serve the lives, shape the lives, and sign the lives by the divine virtues of humanity for our divine security in lives by God. 52. That was a day of divine judgment in my life by you, the Almighty. When you took me in your knowledge and hand over the divine honor of the sky by making me the divine honor on earth. You created a divine romance in my heart by your divine art to pose your love when you disclosed the secrecy of your love in my life and exposed me as the divine owner for an absolute divine command in all over the sky of the world by the judgment of your divine management for the arrangements of divine right in lives by me in alive and to be alive in the sky of the world after my life on earth. "53. O nature, you bless us by your boundless service in our lives. You created delightful sensation for perceiving the order of creations which are bound by the chain of seasons to create a reason of saving and serving for loving our lives by releasing the savor of the flavor of lives when the sight sighs the salute at your name, at your game, when the thirst of life is satiated by the order of your fame, and the worship of life is bound to bow the head at your name on the living source of generation as a sweeper to sweep up the dead from your creation. 54. Let there be the contentment of environment in our lives on earth, which is the source of our entertainment in lives, to please the sentiment of our lives as the source of encouragement and the force of development in the course of the arrangements of our lives, when our motion is the motion of progression in the procession of our fulfillment in lives on earth. 55. Water is the source of air in our lives on earth, which makes us fair for the faith of our lives by its own favor for our fame as the aim of our lives on earth. So the purity of water and air are the sources of the purity of blood and breath for our health and mind on earth, as well as the lack of pure water and air are the sources of our tension for the lack of our attention on earth, which ultimately pollutes our own atmosphere on earth when it dilutes the faith of our senses to pollute the essence of the humanity, divinity and naturality of our lives on earth. "56. Let us preserve the environment to reserve the vitality of lives and earth by the purity of environment for the contentment of our lives on earth, so that we can check the demoralization of our lives on earth when the sky looks with heavy heart the ruination of our environment on earth. When the nature is attacked by our greediness and there is no swelling of fondness in air for lives, it blows as a flow of dead wood like the style of a faded smile which suffers by the deadly sins of lives without following the secret that the nutrition of our lives are nourished by the delighted environment, which are the causes of natural contentment, physical contentment, and divine contentment in our lives on earth." 57. You are above all our country, above from our lives and religion. We are glorified by the glories of your game, to whom you have colored in the flag of your fame, which is dedicated to you as the hat of your name, where the aim of our lives create fame in the game of our lives at your name. 58. As you are our God, O my country, we are your God also. So we are made for one another, where we take birth and shelter for our growth, with the oath to serve you, save you, and sign you by our cordial love to you, for signing our name by the sower of your fame, which is the aim of our lives in the game of acquiring the divine paradise of God in the sky of our lives on earth. 59. My dear country, your relation gives us the message of divine promotion on the passage of our mission in lives, which enlighten the limelight of our civilization on earth, for giving our divine birth in the sky, when the deed of our lives succeeds the need of being free from the rivers of our lives on earth. 60. Change is the nature of life. Change is the nature of matureness in life. Let there be change in all to create motion for promotion in the gradation of lives. The motion is for progression, the progression is for generation, and the generation is for completion. For the completion of our lives by being free from the gravitation of earth, as season changes to change the taste of environment, for bringing freshness in lives, sea changes to change the continuity of lives by creating ebb and flow tide, for encouraging efficiency in lives, so change the wave of love in lives, which help us to solve the tension of birth and death in lives by being free from the rivers of our lives on earth. 61. O rain, how do you please us by your witty body? How do you ease us as your duty? How do you expose such beauty, when the sensation of our creation requires your presentation by your activities among us? You donate a valuable formation to romanticize the lives by the thrill of your power, as the hour of the sower of bliss in our lives on earth. 62. O rain, you are so weepy with your weary wind and wicky light for the right of your love to earth. Is it so of your allurement for the encouragement of births on earth? Your pious power of enlightenment allures the scenes of environment for the contentment of the thirst of your lover, as your promise of love forever. So you show your sentiment by your attainment for the glow of love and the flow of life. You offer your immortal love in honor of your lover, who covers the duration of separation by the generation of personalization to you. My dear country, 63. My dear country, as I am the owner of your honor, you are also the owner of my honor. As a saint is devoted to God, I am devoted to you. As a sentry of my country in your serenity on earth, where your greenery makes us evergreen in our lives, where your scenery makes us ever great in our lives, which makes us ever fresh for the treasure and bliss of God in our lives on earth. 64. My dear rain, you are the gain for the pain of our lives on earth. You fulfill the aim of our lives as you give life to our births, being a messenger of fortune for our lives on earth. You enlighten our lives by the light of liberty, so that we can be bright for our own paradise in the sky, which is our right in lives, our right in our might, Our right is our might in lives when we be free from the fight of our lives on earth. '65. Cloud, oh beautiful cloud, send the rain with your shout by fanning your tail of lightning to allure our heart by your watery yard when the swelling of water with wind in our dwelling peeps in search of us, as this is your call to us to take part in your game among us. '66. The beauty of our love pauses the duty of our lives towards the maturity of our lives in love, where the role of our lives lead us towards the divine goal of our lives, which are derived from the souls of our lives, so that our souls can be derived from the divine goal of God for the completion of our divine love in lives, which are the fame of our lives in faith of our aim, where cooperation and cordiality are the sources of creations for the recreations of our lives in love. '67. Let your love be the source to cover the ways of my life as the rays of power to honor the hour of life, which creates life by your dreamy life in my life as the force of faith in my life, where your favor is the fame in the game of my life, when you delight my life by the light of your love in my life. '68. When the love and faith create our own heaven of happiness in our lives, when the light of the sun and the flight of the clouds create a shroud of romance in atmosphere, when the peacock welcomes the cloud by fanning out the shroud of its tail to drown itself at the call of its honor, for the flavor of its honor in the dreamy view of the nature's virtue on earth, which enlivens the diversity of birth, to be free from the rivers of our own by the display of liberty for our divine security in lives by you, the Almighty. '69. When the smile of air and the prayer of our lives create a layer of serenity in the fear of fulfillment by the power of divine soar for the contentment of our lives, the judgment of the nature's area of divine glory creates the holiness of its own when you make us divine in our lives, so that we can be signed by you in your sky, the Almighty. When the maturity brings security of life, which develops a dreamy sequence of sense as the essence of confidence in life, to brighten the liveliness of life, when the light delights the door of us, to say as the dearest one, that your sight and my light are more than this life, which lives here forever, as the witness of memory in our story, to case the age of time on earth. '71. O rain, you are the gain of our love in lives. When the pain of our lives suffer from the aim of our lives, you come among us by showing your worthy grace. When the sword of your power creates an hour of glory for a holy sensation, by the brace of your grace you share your joy among us to bless us by your auspicious touch, which is as your bliss of heaven for the kiss of fortune in our lives on earth. '72. O farmer, the father of soil, You create life in the soul of soil. You create love on the surface of soil by your unique art of romance to nourish the land when the scenery of greenery smiles cheerfully to cheer up you and your life generously as a pride to admire you naturally. 73. The sun is our father and the earth is our mother. O nature, you are the treasure of our pleasure to please us by your full measure. We act by tact and live in the earth by living all together. We share our natural power on one another as you are the dictator of your reign and we are the dedicator of your reign so that we can sign our moral lives for our reign of immortality so that we can sign our moral lives for our sign of immortality in the sky. '74. We believe on the path of progression. We believe in the course of creation, where the succession of our breaths create our cages of pages by the pages of our lives, for our salvation in lives, by the oblation of our agitation and dedication to God during the duration of our lives, so that we can release ourselves from the ruination of our lives on earth, where we be free from the rivers of our lives on earth. 75. You are a messenger of peace on earth. You have come from the corridor of celestial peace on the corridor of power to refrain the world from the tension of power theory, for establishing the enshrine of peace theory, to embrace our lives by the brace of peace. In honor of humanity, you show your miraculous quality during your meritorious longevity on earth. 76. Your fondness enlightens my heart's light, which makes me bright in life for you. Your happiness delights the hope of my life, for the role of your love in the goal of my life. So while at the door of deity, when I illuminate the light of piety, if I look you in that light, would you make me your own by the right of your known love in my life? '77. Let us protect ourselves by the virtues of our lives, which create an atmosphere of fortune in our lives, because we can't protect ourselves by weapons, as weapons are killers, and killers can't be savers. So let us change our views for lives, and let us be protected by the virtues of our lives, so that we can be alive here with our natural liveliness and loveliness in hope of the divine kindness in our lives by God. 78. My dear country, the shower of your glamour creates an hour of honor in our lives, which falls from the peak of mountains as the fountain of fortune in our lives, the greatness of which are being covered by the rivers as the savors of your liveliness. Your youthfulness wanders among us through the dense forest as the nest of your best for us, when the fame of your name makes us famous in the game of lives, which is the glory of your honor, for the holiness of our lives in the lap of our birth, as the cap of our paradise in the on the map of earth. As the cap of our paradise on the map of earth. 79. You are our dream, my dear country. Your dream is the dream of liberty which creates the scene of piety on earth and in the sky. When we take birth on earth for the chain of fame at your name by breaking the cages of the dawn of our lives in hope of our divine paradise against the sacrifice of our lives on earth. 80. The sky is smiling with joy, and the air is bewildering in pleasure. The light is delighting the earth for the birth of the right of our freedom on earth, as today is the birthday of our country. So we have flown your flag as our cap of your map on earth, where we take birth in your lap on earth. 81. If I look you being the sky, can you hide me being the cloud? If I fly you being the air, can you soothe me being the sower of rain? If I delight you being the sun, can you devote to me being the moon as a figure of fortune in my life? 82. You are our pride, you are our paradise. My dear country, we are the century of your natural civility, where the greenery of your scenery creates a motherly affection by your pious attraction and natural protection for the divine promotion of our lives in the sky, when you show your gratitude for our divine attitude in lives on earth. 83. As we are the living faith of God for our births on earth, God is the living faith of us for our paradise in the sky. So till we are being believed by God, we can't be released by God from earth for our own paradise in the sky, so that we can be free from the cage of the vibrating atmospheric pressure on earth, being free from the rebirths of our lives on earth. '84. This is as easy to get the bless of God for our deliverance in lives, as this is tough to earn the money in our lives. Only condition is that we have to be alert always for the virtues of humanity and divinity, which are in the pocket of our lives, as we are alert always for the money which are in the pocket of our dresses on earth. 85. Let us create natural liveliness and loveliness in our lives by indoctrinating our lives by the doctrine of virtues which create the motion of humanity, divinity and formality for the emotion of fearless, tensionless and weaponless prosperity, as love gives birth of love, violence gives birth of violence. So serve the love in service of lives for the right of divine paradise in our lives on earth. 86. When the rays of light delights the ways of our lives for the gaze of liberty, an example of reality is done by the activities of God for his devotees, which create the chances of the divine security of our lives on earth, the sense of which creates the essence of devotion for the honor of our divine promotion in lives by God. 87. Let there be the sower of your pleasure in my life, which pleases me by the tie of the treasure of your love, when the flavor of your favor creates a savor of serenity for the maturity of our mentality, being caught by the thoughts of our lives as a plot of surprise for the immortal prize of our lives in love. '88. O New Year, this is our prayer to you. Let there be the sower of peace on the world, so that the power of your hour can create an atmosphere of confidence by the defense of our souls for saving the souls of others. We sanctify our mentality through the experience of reality that no power is greater than peace's power, no philosophy is greater than truth's philosophy, which is the root to maintain our prosperity, written on the lost throne of years and at the coronation of New Year. Let us give the oblation of our progression by the celebration of a happy New Year. '89. What do you search in my heart? This is the place where you are. Don't be so worried to come near me as the perfume in my memory. You have lost your path in place of my heart, where the pathos of love bedews the dew doors of my sight, as the symbol of right to delight our ways. When you come to me by remembering my memories with your rhythmical steps through the endless path course. '90. What an unknown pain you create in my heart, dear, by growing the remembrance of my lover. Your calling is an invitation to me for the completion of my long-awaited wish to meet with my beloved. I follow your communication, but I cannot follow you, as non-challenge discourage me. A lot of pain worries me when you depart from me. Don't go. Don't go, dear. Come to me to take me to my lover. Don't break my heart by pitiful pain. Don't insult to my long-awaited gain. Don't fade my faithfulness, which is earned by my endurance. My dear, wait for a while. Let me arrange my heart treasure to offer at the time of heart-rending pleasure. '91. When my memory worries you, you come near me. You place me in your heart in care of your love to delight me, which creates a might in me by observing you, which creates a right in me by serving you. How can I tell you my restlessness? How can I explain my helplessness? I am immersed in hopelessness. You be the source of my happiness in life. '92. Though the sun has set, but the rays are yet at the threshold of twilight hour, when a child's soul and a bird's song sings in a dreary tone. Oh no, don't go. Come in my sky, live in my sky, make your home in my sky. But no, no more. No more light, no more sun or sight. Child's blind man's buff is over. Over is the twittering of birds in luring colors. On and on, again and again, the stars germinate in the sky with a glorious sight of moon by the display of divine fortune in the sky for the display of our lives on earth. '93. All my aims which I have to gain in the game of life, in the game of my life, the consecration of which is the progression of my life, when the aim of my life is derived from the pain of my life, the pain of my life is derived from the fame of my life, the fame of my life is derived from the faith of divine fortune in my life as a device of divine paradise against the sacrifice of our lives on earth. 94. Let us soothe by the light the hungriness of darkness. Let us quench by the Spirit the thirst of idleness. Let us dedicate our duties to the creations of beauties for the recreations of our lives in love. As we serve lives, so we hope to get the service of God in our lives. We love lives, so we hope to get the trace of God in our lives. We honor lives, so we hope to get the bliss of God in our lives for our divine paradise in the sky. 95. When a dream of love is a love forever, and a love of faith is a faith forever, when a faith of fame is a fame of forever, and the fame of gain is a gain forever, whose favor is an honor for the manner of our lives in love, the savor of which surprises us by the price of eternal love in our lives by you, the Almighty. 96. O New Year, your festival, let it grow with glorious arrival, to spring the chances in our heart, the hope which you create, let it fulfill, let it be true, the dream of our heart. Let there be piety, your arrival, as the deity of our lives, for giving the pleasure of prosperity and the treasure of cordiality in hope of your security towards the maturity of our lives in love. 97. As love, peace, and faith are complementary one another, so love and peace are thither, whither is faith, which is like a fellow traveler to travel the pilgrim of humanity for the paradise of divinity, to delight our lives by the might of our right, for brightening us by the virtues of our own, for the known sacrifice of our lives in hope of our own paradise in the sky. 98. When the dawn of devotion creates a smooth motion in our lives, in accordance with our truth and faith, the power of the patience of which creates an hour of patience for the right of our deliverance in lives, the aim of our foresightedness creates the fame of fortune in our lives, when the faith of our lives fulfill the dream of our divine liberty in lives. 99. The fiction of illusion in fond of solution makes a dreamland of our creation in the motion of our lives, where everything develops as dream to be the dream which is carried by the dreams of our lives, which is done by the deeds of our lives, where the roles of our lives hope the judgment of our divine management on earth, so that the souls of our lives can acquire the divine goal of God in the sky. 100. The longing of my love to you have made me your own, to be known divinely in the sky, when you have created an example of divine liberty in my life, by giving me the divine right of your paradise in life on earth, as the judgment of your divine management for the encouragement of our lives on earth, the Almighty. 101. Let the mortality of our lives lead us towards the love of immortality for our divine maturity in lives, in hope of the placement of our lives in the paradise of God, after the sacrifice of our lives on earth, while in along with our song, O God, you are mine, make me thine, so that I can be signed earthly and divinely by you. 102. Happy birthday to you, as we are with you for a new year, as your own dear. We share our love with you. The prayer of our lives are centered by the presentation of your creations in our lives as the price of your life. When the dream of immortality draws you from the mortality of our lives, whether you have created the rule of blooming, neither the role of blooming are faming the fortune of your image, so that there can be your dream in the nest of our heart, to adorn the bird of our heart by moral courage, for the coverage of our lives by divine surprise. "103. O light, you sign our lives so that we can be signed by you, to serve your paradise in the sky. When we feel you in fond of our health and heaven, to live in our lives on earth, as you delight the sight of our lives, so we have the right of reaching in your divine paradise, so that we can be free from the physical and mental cowardice of our lives on earth by the sacrifices of our lives for our own paradise in the sky. 104. When the wings of our heart and the rings of our eyes create a device to discover your secrecy in our lives by the emotion of our heart and the emission of our eyes, which creates surprise of your divine prize in our lives, when the dream of our lives out of the earthly scenes are signed by your divine ideas, so that we can fly divinely in our lives to reach at your paradise as the diviner of your honor, before losing the manner of air and light of our heart and eyes on earth. 105. Let the emotion of my best wishes consecrate your life to bloom you on earth for the birth of the glorious dawn in your life. As I am mine and you are thine, so let this spirit be divine in your life, so that we can sign yourself to sign your life in the screen of the sky as a sign of liberty due to the fondness of divine security for the maturity of life by my kiss of fortune to you till the end of the dew of my life for you. 106. When the birds migrate to make a pilgrimage towards the fondness of the sun, to be known divinely in the sky on earth, in hope of being relieved from the unknown pain, when the enchanting power of the hour creates an honor for the manner of their known name, which create their identity in the entity of God for a plot of deliverance by the hour of power, so that they can get the rare opportunity of their pair for the snare of God in the sky of their lives. 107. My dear rain, You are the power of heaven on earth. When the pleasure of your presence creates a sense of mercy and courtesy in our lives, to disclose the secrecy of the diversity of your divine love to us, so that we can be honored by you for the surprise of the divine prize of our lives on earth. And you can be recognized by us for the diversity of your organized manner in our lives on earth. O nature, you are the creator of our lives on earth. You are the creator of our paradise in the sky. When the migration of our emotion pray to the Almighty to take part in the festival of your art, where comfort and compassion are ruling in search of a new feeling, when our sensation develops the sense of progression by the essence of our patience with our confidence as the initiating ceremony of harmony. At the initiating ceremony of harmony for our divine matrimony in lives with you. 109. O God, let us hold you for your paradise in the sky, so that you can hold me for the surprise of the prize of deliverance in our lives, because our lives are limited among our ration and fashion for the existence and resistance of our lives on earth. So let our lives be extended till the deliverance of our lives by the prize of your paradise in the sky, so that the management of your divine judgment can be the source of our encouragement in the lives of your devotees who are in hope of your divine security in lives by you. 110. Don't make me hopeless in my life. Let me get your trust so that I can get your bliss in my life, as this is the hope with which I come again and again for the gain of gains, the divine gain in my life, which can make me free from the same of my life and earth, for your paradise in the sky, so that the price of the sacrifice of my birth and earth can be glorified by the praise of being free from the rebirth of my life by you, the Almighty. (111) We are the source of our lives. We serve our lives. We shape our lives. We rule over the lives. We ignore the souls of our lives for our earthly goals, whereas the souls rule over us for our divine goals, the pleasure of which measure the treasure of our lives in the sky instead of the treasure of our lives on earth. 112. Light is the owner of our lives. Light makes us the owner of our lives, where the power of our lives play the role of the goal of divine paradise in our lives, when the pleasure of the treasure of our virtues create the fortune of our own time in the sky. Create the fortune of our own tune in the sky by the shower of the honor of our love in lives, as light is the life of eyes. So eyes are the life of lives, where lives are delighted by the light, which inspire us to get the right of divine liberty in our lives. 113. You are immersed in the duty of life by the beauty of your own, which delights the ways of your journey of gaze for the fulfillment of your emotion of devotion with Your dedication to God who quenches the thirst of agitational love as the moon is immersed in the dream of dawn on a journey of devotion and emotion with her dedication to the sun who quenches the thirst of her agitation in love. 114. When the findings of my love in your life is the cause of bindings of your love in my life, for a kind of discovery in my mind when I find you in your song of sound love as the essence of your sense, I am in your defense. When the wonder of love renders the life to surrender in the prayer of care, I am in your love to live myself which cure the pain of our love in lives. 115. Let our illusion be the source of solution instead of the pollution and tension of our lives on earth. Because illusion is the oil of generation and generation is the root of progression in lives. So let our progression be sanctified by our devotion so that the flag of honesty can fly on the crest of fame by turning the tension of illusion and pollution into the sensation of the solution of our lives on earth. 116. Let our births be sanctified by the lessons of our lives. Let our deaths be glorified by the deeds of our lives. So according to the needs of our lives, let our experiences lead us to mature divinely for the divine right of our lives, so that our lives can be enlightened by the divine light of the sky, which can make us free from the ignorances and the cages of our lives for our divine paradise in the sky. 116. The life is the race of time, so that we can be divine to shine in the sky of God. Without creating ourselves, we accept the challenge of life. The life is a challenge. Challenge is for facing those circumstances which break the chain of patience, and this is the duty of life to overcome those by giving lessons. Lessons is obtained by the experience is obtained by the endurance, which is gained by the weapons of manliness and godliness in accordance with our foresightedness for our divine defense in lives by God. 118. Thanks to my love that I get you and you get me, as the pivotal dream of your love in my life. Who are you in my hidden treasure of life? Let me devote to you, let my lover devote to you. Let me create an eternal relation in life with you by the oblation of my devotion in life, which is the source of my divine promotion in life by you. 119. O moon, you are the sea of love. As seas romance with you create ebb and flow tide on earth, our romance with love creates births and rebirths on earth. When we are immersed in the fondness of love and in the findings of life for the bindings of the sky, the mercy of our lives are honored by the courtesy of God in lives, who discloses the secrecy of our creations for the divine promotion of our lives on earth in love. For the divine promotions of our lives in love. 120. As you do not ask me, so I do not tell you that I am a symbol of love. which can delight the life of love. The love of life is there with the fairness of my prayer. Take care of my love to cure the pain of love. Lovers come and go. None delights the love of my life. None brightens the light of my life. When you come to me with your light of love, there is a faith as the fate of fortune, for the right of my life which delights the core of my life in love. $121. Don't get pain as my love to you can't be in vain. You are the pain of my love in life. You are the gain of my love in life. You be the fame of my love in life. The promises which remain by remarking the events that I like to look you as my light in life. I like to love you as my right in life. You are the paragon of my pleasure. You are the paradise of my treasure. My heart is marked with your heart and relishes the remainder of our romanticization when you come to me as the presentation of love in my life. $122. This is the pleasure of life, to play with the course of life, at every point of undulating moment, being on the worthy throne of wiseness, by imparting courageousness like the cluster of rays on the ways of our lives, for the gaze of liberty, which delights the door of us and enlightens the core of our lives in love. $123. We are the inventors of the mysteries of lives. We are the followers of the inventions by lives. We cultivate our vitality for the efficiency of our lives in favor of humanity and divinity, for our divine security in lives, so that we can get our maturity in lives, which can make us free from the rebirths of our lives on earth. $124. The dream of my love is in vain. The desire of my love is in pain. If you are not mine, if I do not get you in my life, if the dawn of your love does not delight me, I shall not claim you as the price of my love in life. I have not got the love which I had to get. I have not given the love which I had to give. I am lost in me without getting you. By forgetting the shelter of my love, for altering the altar of my love, at the confluence of hope and honor, in a manner of migration, I want my salvation in life by the trust and bliss of God in a life. $125. In the innermost part of my heart, where you have made your den of love, there was a cloudy pain which was rained upon the springy Rhine of my life, as the sower of fear in my life, whose care of consolation, whose blessings light you have spread over my life's love. How do you adore my heart by your odor of love, in which neither there was any tempo nor was the pomp of harmony, where amiableness was charmless. There the torrent of your love has quenched the thirst of my life. Being my lover, you have covered the love of my life for you. $126. Flower of life blooms by the color of life and perfumes by the quality of life. where the melody of activity glamorizes the life by creating an honorable result of agreeable nature for removing the burden of debt from lives, the debt of poverty due to the lack of sympathy, the debt of illiteracy due to the lack of generosity, and the debt of cruelty due to the lack of mercy and courtesy in lives, where the secrecy of our paradise in the sky is the source of being free from the souls of our lives, from the depth of the soul of our lives, from the depth of the soil of our lives on earth. (127) In the nectary of my heart, where the nectar of your love develops at the time of relishing the prelude of our romance, I write a rhyme to dignify your sign. When the fickleness of your nature springs with the tune of my heart in search of your art, when I am over obsessed for you at the time, surprisingly, you come to me and give the oblation of your affection in my affectionate tune of love, to exchange my faith by your cheerful brace. 128. As the breath and step are complementary one another, the life and service are also complementary one another. So let us serve our lives to serve all at the call of duty by the beauty of power for the security of our in lives, so that we can help our divine paradise in hope of being the part of the divine surprise by the price of the divine love in our lives. 129. We are the natural product of earth, so our souls are the sources of air in the fear of the vibrating atmospheric pressure of our lives on earth. And after this area of the vibrating atmospheric pressure, as there is no air there, our souls contact there. Out of the area of the vibrating atmospheric pressure on earth. So we need the mercy and courtesy of God by our humanity and divinity, in hope of our divine security in lives, so that we can be rescued divinely from the queue of our lives earthly, for being free from the rivers of our physically. 130. As the life is based on dream, so the dream is based on life also. As the life is based on dream, so the dream is based on life also, which develops as a dream to be lost in dream, because we are created by dreams, so we present a lively show of our dreams by our creations on earth before being the dream, where we cherish the dreams, we relish the dreams which are derived from the dreams of our lives, for weaving the net of dreams as the dream of a spider, the rider of its web. এটা কি করে বন্ধ করব? এই সৌমিকে জিজ্ঞেস করো তো এটা কি করে বন্ধ করব? সময়টা কি করে বন্ধ করব? ও না, এটা আমি খুলে দিয়েছি এই মাত্র এর আগে কিন্তু একটু ইয়ে হয়েছে, এর আগে মাকে যখন বললাম তখন এটা আমি খুলে দিয়েছি।
ওটা খুললে হবে না তো, মেশিন তো এটা চলছে।
ও